My wife F28 slapped me M29 and is now saying, "You can't handle a slap?" Yesterday my wife slapped me during a heated argument for the first time. I was not completely in the right by any means regarding the argument, and I swore in front of my kids for the first time in anger. This was outside. I locked the back door by habit when I went inside and went upstairs. My wife and kids were outside for a couple of minutes until I heard the doorbell and immediately went to unlock the door and explained why I had locked it by habit. My wife didn't believe me and was incensed and eventually came upstairs and slapped me in the face to the point where it left a mark. She went into our room and started to look up divorce lawyers, and said that I would be hearing from her lawyer later. This is not the first time she has threatened divorce, so I'm not sure how serious I took it, but I was standing by her saying to not do this. Now today, she tried to apologize and I wasn't ready to forgive her, so she said these exact words, "You can't handle a slap?" Now mind me, she was physically abused growing up, so I'm not sure what to think. There has been some emotional things going on too. I feel that I've been toyed with about the whole divorce thing multiple times and it really eats at me. I want to say that I'm not at all in the complete right. There are things that I can definitely do to improve, but we have not resorted to physical violence until yesterday. How should I move forward? I love my wife and my 2 young kids and I am extremely torn on the next steps I should take. Now mind me, she was physically abused growing up. And now she's raising her kids in a household with physical abuse. Let her divorce you, emo. What would you tell your son to do if you were in your shoes? She put her hands on you. Get an attorney. File for divorce. If not for yourself, do it for your kids. They don't deserve to grow up in this atmosphere. It will only escalate further from here. She hit you, then justifies and puts it back on you for not being able to take it. Do not let your kids grow up in a house where they witness their parents being violent to them, or even worse if she gets violent with the children themselves. Get out, immediately. Please divorce. Physical violence always gets worse. If you slapped her, you'd be under the jail. This is a terrible lesson for your kids to learn. Always threatening to divorce is emotional abuse. Please leave. Men don't have to take this behavior no more than a woman does. This is not an environment to raise healthy kids. Don't beg her to stay. Take a picture of the mark. Document what she did and go see a lawyer. Her utter lack of remorse says volumes. She'll keep doing this. She's emotionally and physically abusive. She's basically asking if you can't handle being an abuse victim. Show your kids abuse isn't normal and shouldn't be forgiven. You can't handle a slap shows that she doesn't understand the problem or want to change. She needs therapy. It'll take years, and don't make your children pay for her decisions while she figures it out. If you don't love yourself enough to leave, I hope you love children enough to not let her pass down her trauma to them. Document abuse. Get her to apologize via text. Meet with lawyer. How can I, M44, tell my wife, F37, I can't stand her poor hygiene? Too long did not read. See title. I'm going to start off by saying I love my wife, and most days I find her attractive, even if others may not. But I've always been bothered by her obvious lack of hygiene, and I don't know how I can continue to handle it or how to confront her about it, especially with her traumatic past of being told she is not good enough for anyone. She was in an abusive relationship for 10 years which produced 4 children and a lot of PTSD for her. She was under a time constraint. If she wasn't home by 7 p.m. on the dot, she was emotionally and sometimes physically abused. He used her money and made her work while he sat at home smoking weed and playing video games. I think during this time, she gave up on taking care of herself because she was taking care of everything else, including children. She's not lazy by any means, and she busts her ass at work, licensed mental health therapist, around the house, and when it comes to her kids. But she rarely takes care of herself. She demands the kids brush their teeth daily, but she'll go a week or 2 before she brushes her own. She demands they take a bath at least every 3 days, but she won't take one for up to 3 weeks. She rarely puts on deodorant, hasn't shaved her legs or armpits in a while, and this morning as she was changing, the smell coming from her unwashed genitals was horrendous and I had to leave the room before I started gagging. We are on vacation with the kids in 90+ degree F weather, and she hasn't bathed once since we've been here despite how sweaty she has gotten. At times, I really don't know if I can continue this marriage of 3 years, but she is pregnant with my child, through IVF since she is premenopausal due to a rare gene mutation and has no eggs, and so I can't leave. I'm just so stuck now, and at times I resent her for her lack of hygiene, and I feel there isn't anything I can really do that won't destroy her. How can I convey that her lack of personal hygiene doesn't sit well with me? Edit to add, I didn't delete anything. The post regarding my past is still up. Don't need to delete anything to prove anything to you. Been on Reddit for years, and this is my throwaway account. You focusing on my past instead of the actual issue says a lot about you. My wife knew about it. Took 10 months until she trusted me with meeting her kids. But this ain't about me. It's about making sure my wife takes care of herself. I work in medicine, in school for my BSN, finishing in March 2026. I need her healthy. Plain and simple. Both of you sound like you need better therapists. I can't understand why, after 4 kids, you would decide to have another. She's been this way since you've met her and you never once brought it up? Pregnancy increases the risk of vaginal infections. Paired with her terrible hygiene and her age, this may be a miserable pregnancy. Are you guys intimate? You need couples therapy ASAP. This may be a way she kept her ex away from her and she's now used to it. Regardless, make some time for couples therapy since you're incapable of communicating this to her. Really? Does your pregnant wife know that you're sexually attracted to the long legs of a 10-year-old child? Sounds like chemical castration may be the beat outcome for everyone around you. Wishing for sexual activity with a 10-year-old girl? WTF, man? You absolutely cannot leave her after getting her pregnant for the 5th time, and going to great trouble and expense to do so. You knew about her hygiene issues before you knocked her up. Is it possible her current pregnancy is triggering memories from her previous pregnancies with her abusive ex, and she's not coping well? Has she been evaluated for prenatal anxiety? Please tell me she's at least in weekly therapy for her PTSD. Get her to doctors beyond her normal OB/GYN. I did not have any of this dumpster fire on my Reddit roulette of insanity today. Attraction to children, PTSD, wife with hygiene issues and clear depression who is also a mental health professional, pregnant, IVF, 4 kids already, total lunacy. Where are her antenatal team in this? Why can her therapist not smell her and address it? That's just as an aside in the what the fuck questions I have. He's talking about leaving her and then saying in the comments he won't. I hope this is fake because this is an entire landfill of a dumpster inferno. Bro, I swear the most mentally fucked people are the ones who reproduce the most. What do I make of this? Did my boyfriend, 28 male, threaten to cheat on me, 29 female? Update below. So recently, there was a girl on IG who reached out to my boyfriend. It ended up being a fake account, but before we realized it was someone trolling, we both believed this girl who was relatively attractive was coming onto him very aggressively. In her messages, she told him that she would be visiting our town in 2 weeks. That said, before we found out the account was fake, he was talking about how a lot of high-value men have multiple side chicks in the following below. I just hope you understand. I am biologically wired to sleep with as many good-looking women as possible. I would like to be appreciated for suppressing that urge. When I pushed back on that biologically wired comment, he said the following. Better be on your best behavior these next 2 weeks, Victoria ISTG. I'm at a loss for words. I was so upset, and he basically said a lot of other men would cheat in his position and that I should appreciate his loyalty. I believe loyalty is the bare minimum in a relationship. It was my birthday that morning and he bailed because his sleep schedule is all messed up and IC didn't give him a hard time. I was kind and kept my tears to myself as I was driving to the beach alone. Is this true? Should I really feel lucky that he didn't cheat? And what about the behavior comment? How am I supposed to feel secure in this relationship when he's essentially saying if I piss him off, he will just take up that opportunity, the opportunity that ended up being fake? IDK. Update 7/18. Hi everyone. I want to give you all an update and clear up a few things. First, I want to sincerely thank you all for taking the time to respond to my post. It seriously opened my eyes. I can't explain it, but it was like something switched in my brain. I sat in the parking lot outside of Ulta for hours just rereading the comments over and over again. I was scared to post this at first and I was about to delete it because he is active on Reddit, but I'm glad I didn't. Your experiences and words taught me a lot and made me realize I was dating an actual sexist. To answer some questions, no, we don't live together and we've been dating for almost a year. Some of you have made comments on why I put up with this, and if I was high value, I would have left. And I can't say I blame you for thinking that. I guess I'm just naive. I don't really have anyone. I grew up in a really strict Catholic household, was very sheltered, and my dad passed when I was a kid. Both my parents are immigrants, so I spent my entire 20s just working and going to school. I was with one man before him and he broke my heart to sleep around after 5 years. It took me 3 years to date again, so when I finally did, I met this guy and he was great at first. He wasn't like this in the beginning. However, as I was reading through the comments and reflecting on our relationship, I started to remember the sly comments he made that went right under my nose and affected me without me realizing. After my post, before I read the comments, I went back to talking to him and he just doubled down. I realized he doesn't respect me because I'm a woman, and if I stick up for myself, he calls me argumentative and says I give him no peace. Before I get ahead of myself, I'll give you a Reader's Digest version of how that convo went below. First, I got really mad and said, "Why do you keep bringing up the fact that you should be appreciated for being loyal? Should you appreciate me for being patient and understanding to the fact you're without a job? A lot of women wouldn't put up with that, and instead of appreciating that I'm really understanding, you kick me when I'm down and ruin my B-day." He then responds and said, "Oh yeah, how would you feel if I said, you are overweight and expect me to appreciate you? If anything, you should appreciate how patient I have been with your weight." This broke me. For context, I'm 5 feet 3, 135 pounds, 36B, 29W, 39H. I'm not skinny, but I don't think I'm overweight. That's besides the point though. When he said that, I said, "If I'm so overweight and there's nothing to appreciate about me, then just leave." He says, "I appreciate that I'm the second guy you slept with." I haven't responded since. This reminded me of all the times he would say how I'm an exception, because women my age are usually a lot more experienced, and he wasn't sure about me because my age at first, and that every guy knows this deep down, they just won't say it to my face. I am crying as I type this because I realize how much he's made me hate myself and how depressed he's made me. I look in the mirror and I feel fat, ugly, and old. I hide my face from crowds when I commute to work because I'm scared men will look at me and think, "She's hit the wall. He's fucked with my psyche and I should have left sooner." But I have bad attachment issues, and it may be due to my lack of experience. However, reading the comments gave me hope and strength despite this empty darkness I feel in me. That's how he's made me feel, dark inside and hopeless, like I'm nothing more than what's between my legs and youth. Also, I read through every single comment and I'm sorry if I didn't respond to all of them. I've just been taking it all in instead. Especially reading comments from men saying he's a jerk and not agreeing with him. It helps me a lot and teaches me that not all men are like this. I just so happened to get involved with a jerk. Some of you mentioned going no contact, and I'm taking your advice and have already started going no contact. One lady mentioned how a boyfriend said something similar to her and he ended up cheating. Thank you for sharing your experience. That comment got to me and zapped me out of my stupor. I've already started no contact since 6 p.m. It's now 11 p.m. here. I'm sticking to it. I'm ready to love myself and know my worth. I never realized how worthless I felt. I became so depressed I would drive with no music on, forget showers, and just rot. I feel pathetic for admitting that, but I'm admitting this so I can go back to this post and remember how low I felt. Thank you all for your advice and waking me up. I never knew all it took was me reaching out to strangers on the internet. Gives me hope in humanity. Thank you all. Please don't delete any of your comments, as I will be coming back to this post a lot as I begin the healing process. Update 7/19. I am going to start therapy. After work, I am going to look for a therapist near me who accepts insurance. When I would wake up in the middle of the night last night, I came back to this post to read your comments, and I can't express how thankful I am. Every single comment hit, and I feel like you all snapped me out of whatever I was in. I realize and am realizing more and more that my mindset is not normal and that I have very, very low self-esteem. It explains why people at work would ask if I was okay out of nowhere. They must see it on my face, sad face. I am also wondering if I do have some sort of body dysmorphia, based on some of the comments. On another note, I woke up and was so happy to see more people respond because it just gave me more and more strength to keep no contact. Before reading the comments this morning, I woke up feeling sad and just empty, but I forced myself out of bed and made it on the train on time for work. I could have worked from home, but I knew it wouldn't do me any good to sit home alone with my thoughts. I came back to my post on the train and I swear I feel more light go back into me the more comments I read. I wish I had friends like you all back at home, but maybe it's good that my identity is hidden so I can work on myself and not catch the attention of manipulators. I looked up emotional abuse based on your comments and I do believe I was being emotionally abused by him and my previous partner. Part of me is concerned for myself because I'm 29 and I'm just now learning a lot when it comes to relationships, personalities, people, basically anything outside of work, but I won't be hard on myself anymore. At least try not to. Thank you all, I love you all so much. Victoria. The only people I've ever heard use the phrase, high-value men, have been raging misogynists who were also scumbags. From those I know well enough to say, they were all also cheaters or people who would cheat if ever given the opportunity. I mean, seriously, guy is trash. Just dump him and be so glad he showed you who he truly is. That scammer just did you the biggest favor of your life. Loyalty is absolutely bare minimum in a relationship and no one needs to be appreciated for not cheating on their partner. He sounds too self-absorbed to be honest. Did he make any effort to make your birthday special? Ew. Throw that entire man away. Behaving like a toddler having a tantrum with no adult accountability, self-respect or self-control. Gross. You know you deserve to be adored, respected and cared for, right? Your function in life is not to assist and please men like some sort of demand robot. I'd dump him for the high-value men crap. That's red pill ideology and he's a raging misogynist if he believes any of that. I'd tell him good luck with your value and depart. Get tested for STDs and move on cuz he 100% cheated before. It doesn't matter that it was a fake account, what matters is his reaction before he realized that. He's using his comment as a reason to cheat, and he may have already cheated before this. Consider telling him you're biologically wired to only want one partner, so he just failed the boyfriend test. My 23M boyfriend held me 19F underwater during a bath to prove a point and I'm still shaken? I'm 19F and have been with my boyfriend 23M for over a year now. We come from different countries and religions but we've made it work. I have to mention this. My boyfriend loves turning everything into a competition. We both go to the gym and he's always like, who can do this better? Even at home he's always asking who can cook better. Clean faster. You name it. A week ago we were relaxing in the bathtub together. He asked who I thought could hold the other underwater the longest. I found it weird and just brushed it off as one of his usual questions. Just 2-3 minutes later he got up as if to get out of the bathtub and suddenly pushed me underwater. He kept me under for what felt like more than 20 seconds. When he finally let go he started laughing. I'm generally healthy but I have a heart problem that requires daily medication to keep my heart rate normal. Without meds, my heart rate can go up to 140,150 BPM. Even with meds, sudden situations like this can make my heart rate spike to 140 and stay between 110,120 for the next few days. He knows this. He brought up what happened today and said he apologized, which he didn't, and that I should get over it. I'm trying. He said he was trying to prove a point. That I need to work on myself more. It doesn't make sense to me because he's naturally stronger than me and no matter how much I work out. I can't always defend myself against everything successfully. I can't talk to my sister or mother about it. They just ask what I was doing in a bathtub with a guy in the first place. And I still don't have friends here. It's only him and me. We've talked about it more than once and he says if I did this to him he would have found it funny. I don't know if I just need to loosen up more but I don't understand how holding me underwater for that long was ever funny in his head. Edit. He's also complaining now about the marks I left on his wrist, arm, almost faded. I didn't mean to. It was sudden and I swallowed a bit of water and I was freaking out and just wanted him to let go. I apologized for this but told him it was a natural reaction to what he did. You need to get out immediately. Do not listen to anything he says to you to convince you otherwise. He is dangerous. If there is a universe where what he did could be forgiven as a massive error in judgment, the way he's reacted since then, finding about 6 different ways to blame you for being upset, is the opposite of what that would look like. Run away from him. This is classic abuser behavior. Your heart literally cannot take his crap. You in danger, girl, run from this man. He tried to drown you and laughed. No. This is very, very scary. I am afraid for you. You are still shaken because what he did was violent. There is no other way to define it. He used his greater body mass to restrain you in a dangerous, scary, and potentially life-threatening situation and found it funny. He has gone far beyond the boundaries of normal competitiveness. The fact that he pushed you to apologize for leaving marks on his arm while he was practically drowning you leads me to believe that he 1. Is unwilling to see the true harm of his actions. 2. Will do something similarly violent again. 3. Will find a way to make your reactions to his violence the bigger problem. Please find a way to remove this man from your life soon, before he escalates and puts you in even greater danger. He's going to kill you. This is not hyperbole or exaggeration. He doesn't want to prove a point, he just enjoys hurting and frightening you. He will kill you, and it will hurt the entire time he's doing it if he's getting kicks out of holding you underwater. You need to get out secretly when he's not in the house. Do you have somewhere to go? You need to leave. Your life is in danger. Pack your shit and go home if you don't want to die.